Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to discuss about the most frequently asked question to me from the freshers, which is what is the difference between front end and back end of VLSI, and what are the opportunities that we find in front end and what are the opportunities that we find in back end. So in today's video we are going to discuss about what does the front end VLSI design engineer do and what is the work of back end VLSI engineer, right? So before going into today's video, if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing my channel and hit on the notification bell also. Also follow me on LinkedIn and you can join my Telegram channel in order to know the courseware related to the VLSI domain front end courses. So coming to what is front end and what is back end. So the front end design in VLSI, which is also known as RTL design. Okay, this involves the creation of functional models of the system. Okay, so we will be designing the functional models of the system using HDLs, which are hardware description languages like Verilog or VHDL. Okay, so in this creation process, the front end designer mainly focuses on defining the logical behavior and functional specifications of the system. Okay, which includes like inputs and outputs of the system, their data flow, the overall architecture. So all these are involved. Okay, mainly it will define in front end, you will be defining the logical behavior of the system or design and its functional specifications. What are its functional specifications? So these are the things that the front end design involves. Okay, so the front end designer ensures that the design of the system, okay, whatever you are designing, that design will be meeting these functional requirements and specifications. So this is the work of the front end design engineer. So basically, when you want to design something, first you will be designing it in the form of, you will be designing the functional model of that particular system. Okay, by using some HDLs, okay, by using some language, you will be designing the functional model of that particular system, and this is done by the front end designer. Okay, so this is the work of the front end designer. So finally, after the entire thing is done, like once the front end designing is done and it is verified by the verification engineer, then that particular design which is designed by the front end designer, that is handed over to the back end designers, right? So this is what that is happening in the front end. Now coming to backend. So backend mostly will be calling it as PD, okay, physical design. Okay, what the backend designer do means, the backend mainly involves in translating the entire RTL design into the physical layout. So whatever the RTL designer has handed over to the backend designer, this backend designer will translate that entire thing into the physical layout format. Okay, so basically when it comes to physical layout, what it involves like fabricate. That means it will, whatever that is entirely given in the language format, it is converted into the physical layout, which is fabricating it onto the chip. Okay, so by this we know that. So what does the backend design involves? So the backend designer mainly focuses on placements, routings of various components onto the chips, like routing, placements. So all these are the things, and along with this they also involves optimizing the design. Okay, so basically for performance, power and other works, they will be optimizing this particular design. Okay, so this is the work of the back-end designer. Okay, so this is the work done by the front-end designer and the back-end designer, right? Now coming to the what are the key differences between front-end and back-end design. Okay, so front-end is formed by teams like architects and RTL designers. So whoever that are in front end team, those are called as like architects and RTL designers. Okay, whereas whoever forms the team in the back end, those are called as physical designers and CAD engineers. Okay, so these are the ones that are in back end, like physical designers and CAD engineers, whereas in front end we'll be calling them as architects and RTL designers, right? Now coming to front end, as we already discussed before, front end mainly involves functional specification of the system. Okay, so mainly this involves the functional specification of the system, whereas the back end involves physical implementation of the system. Right, now front end is mostly done with HDLs. Okay, we'll be dealing in front end, everyone will be dealing with HDLs like Verilog, VHDL, system Verilog, for verification, universal verification methodology. So all these are the things that the front end involves. Coming to the backend involves backend. In backend we'll be mostly using like CAD tools and some basic algorithms. So these are the things that the backend involves. Okay, so this is the basic differences between front end VLSI and back end of VLSI. So overall, front end and back end of VLSI are two essential phases of the designing process. Without any one of this, the design won't be completed. So overall, front end and back end designing are two essential phases of designing process for complex electronic systems. In order to design a complex electronic systems, these two are obviously the two important phases. Front end design, as we have discussed before, front end design defines the functional specification of the system, whereas the back end design will be optimizing the physical implementation of the design, like for performance, for power, and other different constraints. Overall, the backend involves the optimizing this physical implementation. Okay, so together these two phases enables the creation of efficient and high performance VLSI systems. So the effective collaboration of these two design teams, like front end and back end design team, ensures the success of the overall design process. So as we have discussed now, based on your interest, you can choose either front end or back end of VLSI domain. Okay, but as of now, front end will be is providing more opportunities compared to that of back end. Because why is that also I'm telling, because physical designing involves some process, but in front end this involves both RTL designing whereas RTL verification also. Okay, so front end have lot opportunities compared to that of back end, but that doesn't mean back end doesn't provide any opportunities. Okay, so based on your interest and based on, because basically if you are into coding, like if you are interested in coding, then you can choose the front end of VLSI. But you are not interested in coding, whereas you are interested in like algorithms, or you are interested in designing, you are interested in analog circuits, then you can go for hardware. Okay, when you are interested in hardware components, then you can choose the back end of VLSI. Right, so this is the difference between front end and back end of VLSI. And so this is all for today. If you like this video, please do like it and also share it to all the VLSI aspirants who also want to enter into design and verification domain. So that is all for today. Thank you all.